Transformative leadership requires empowering others. So what can we learn from this week's Pasha, Vaeschanan, regarding empowering our team members? You've heard of the saying, seeing is believing. So let's take a look at the distinction between seeing and hearing. This week's Parsha opens up with Moshe reviewing how he pleaded with God to let him enter the Holy Land at the end of the 40 years of traveling in the desert. Moshe says, "Please let me cross over and see the good land that's on the other side of the Yarden River." But this new generation was raised during the 40 years of the wilderness. They had heard about all these events, but they had not witnessed them firsthand. True, they had the man, the daily bread from heaven, they had the well from the water of Miriam, and they had the tabernacle with God's divine presence amongst them. But these things had been a daily occurrence. These had been part of the way they were raised and lived their life. It was as common as the sun rising in the east every morning. Moses wanted to enter the land so he could see the land for himself and thereby imbue his vision to this new generation, inspiring and sharing his vision with them. But God would only let him see this land from afar. Resigned to the fact that he would not be able to elevate his people by sharing his own vision of the land, Moses instructed them to at least listen to the decrees and the laws which I'm teaching you. And this sets the tone for the rest of the book of Deuteronomy. So there must be an advantage of hearing over seeing. True, when seeing something, we're more convinced of its certainty than just hearing about it. However, the experience of certainty is solely due to the force of the experience and not due to any effort on our part to truly understand and integrate the experience. Therefore, its effect on us as people, albeit powerful, is superficial. It's ephemeral. Once we're no longer looking at what we saw, our experience begins to fade, and eventually it becomes weak enough to be challenged. In contrast, the conviction of truth we arrive at indirectly, through hearing and searching to understand, this engages us to a much greater and more profound degree. We have to struggle with arguments and perceptions posed by the world until we're absolutely convinced. And these challenges and overcoming them, they change us, and they change our convictions to be much more deep and more permanently rooted. And with this internal change, that gives us a certainty to enter our own promised land and confidently stride forward. So leaders, don't spoon-feed your team. Guide them in their own studies and struggles so that they can truly own their own new territory. And may we all be blessed to return to our homeland with world peace in a time when mankind will make war no more.